Music can take on many, many forms, but one I find myself infatuated with often is parody. The idea of taking someone else's beat, premise, or lyrics and changing them to fit an entirely new narrative. It's honestly amazing to me how people can do it. One person who writes parody frequently that I listen to is a smaller creator by the name of Chonny Jash. Despite the name parody, his songs are actually quite amazing in my opinion. And they always seemed to affect me and move me somehow, and I didn't quite get it. Until I started digging deeper. Then I realized there was a lot deeper meaning behind the lyrics of Chonny's songs, and they form a story. This video will be covering a general overview of the story and a deeper look into 3 of the parodies Chonny's made more recently, as I feel that they are the most important to the story. Without further ado, let's jump into Chonny's Charming Chaos Compendium. Chonny's album, Chonny's Charming Chaos Compendium, is broken into, at least at the time of recording, 22 songs, all of which are parodies of Tally Hall songs. Sometimes, like with We're Gonna Win, there's a mix of Tally Hall and some other artists parodying the song, but Tally Hall seems to be the merging factor in terms of song choices. The story behind the songs follows what seems to be 3 or 4 main characters, depending on how you look at one verse and one song. The main 3 being the mind, the analytical side of Chonny's personality, void of any emotion or consciousness, and is constantly at odds with heart and soul. Heart, the emotional and compassionate side who sees reason and logic as secondary to what your emotions tell you. And finally, the soul itself, the self-proclaimed host and lead of the 3, being representative of a personality that's shown to the public. The real Chonny, that is, as the lyrics of Chonny's Mucka Blucka cover say, paraded, shown to everyone else. And one thing about Soul is that they seem to constantly be the target of harassment for the other 2. That'll be important later. And lastly, depending on how you read one lyric we get to later, you have a 4th character, Chonny himself, or rather, a mix of heart and mind to make up a genuine side that Chonny has. These characters throughout the story, Chonny presents fight, argue, and moreover go at each other's throats multiple times, very clearly being against the idea of the other 2 having control of the body that they all reside in, which is the main reason I'm not covering all the covers in full. It's because the majority of the songs follow the backstory or arguments and have bits of important info sprinkled in, but the 3 we are talking about today seem to be in order to form a more cohesive event that happened in the plotline that I find pivotal no matter where you would put it in a timeline, which are played out through the 3 songs that we're going to listen to. The main argument, a failed suicide attempt, and the consequential realization by all the characters that they all need to exist to thrive. Let's get into the deeper dive. This song starts off slow and smooth, missing a lot of the punchy bass that Chonny's music is known for in favor of a synth and saxophone combo. That makes me think a lot of a kind of Wonderland-esque vibe. The beginning of the song sees Hart singing that he sees quote-unquote thoughts he's having as hackneyed, trite, disturbing, wretched, and other such words. Despite the actual thoughts mentioned never being explicitly told, by the end of this cover, it becomes clear that they're meant to be suicidal thoughts. As the song goes on, the song descends into this carousel-style music that sounds carnival-esque, whilst the Heart goes on to sing in a tone that appears a lot more confrontational, saying this beautiful line. What's the point in trying if this end result of dying sits persistently encloaked in dimness, life can thrive controlled by dig. Followed quickly by just I know I'm weak, I know that I'm vile, but sometimes that is needed to survive. That's what I'll say to rationalize I made it in order to stay alive. This to me sounds both lyrically and musically like a spiral. As if the thoughts of the characters in this scene are plagued with are causing Hart to spiral emotionally, leading to him giving up and accepting that he is weak and vile, but claiming that it's required, as if trying to hold on to some semblance of a sense of being needed. The Heart goes on to sing about the mind, claiming he tricks Soul into being sickly and cold, possibly referencing some sort of trauma response, where the mind is causing Soul to be a lot more timid and susceptible to suicidal ideation. The end of Hart's part sees him giving up control to Mind, leading abruptly into Mind Electric, as it seems Mind is very eager to jump in front of Hart's song as he literally hijacks the beat upon transitioning into his lyric. Mind's part of the song immediately jumps up with the punchy bass and synth noise that Connie's known for. The Mind sings about Hart, calling him saddened and weak, freakish, dismal, hollow, ending this complete bash of his character with as if Mind is trying to go from bashing Heart to making some kind of point he came here to make. Mind calls out to someone with the line, claiming that someone such as Soul is being held back because of Heart's compassion and care for others, going on to claim that this logical point of view of his isn't absolute, as if it's the only acceptable point to use. Shortly after claiming this, however, he says he can't claim to enjoy tormenting Soul, a common theme in songs prior to this one, going on to say he just wants Soul to see and understand his point of view with the line, when Mind goes to say the line, "See how the heart plays profound," Heart seemingly interjects with calling out Mind in his attempt to get Soul on his side. Mind then goes on to talk about how the Heart has tried to hurt him and failed multiple times, possibly a reference to Heart trying to make Mind feel emotions and see his own point of view being skewed by Mind himself as Heart, quote-unquote, hurting him. At the end of Mind's song, he slowly fades out, as if not wanting to give up his position, unlike Heart before, but being dethroned by Soul, as Soul finally makes his appearance. Soul opens with a loud, almost juvenile before his song begins, solidifying his place as the sociable personality, followed by the line, "Call me the soul or call me my name, oh babe, will be whatever you would like. Call me your post or call me insane, if that's what else can stay mine." Passively aggressively telling Heart and Mind that he is in fact in charge, despite being the target of the pair's abuse for the majority of this album. Something unique happens in Soul's section though. Heart and Mind seem to talk about Soul in the background, saying, this conversation seems to be the pair agreeing that Soul's out of line in what he's currently trying to do, and still arguing about who should be abandoned in this situation, Mind or Heart. Soul seemingly ignores the pair, claiming they have been warring all night over something completely useless, making their point to Soul as to why the other should be removed. Claiming the pair, "Forget, you answer to me," as if he's saying that the fighting between the two is useless because he is over both of them anyways. Soul eventually mimics the pair, stealing their lines with the verse, as if challenging the pair to do their worst because he believes he is the owner of the body, being the one to take over for social situations. In the next section of the song, Soul claims that the pair are arrogant to think that they can claim the body when he has control, because they can't pair up and make a team to overpower him. The lyrics from the original of the Mind Electric song come into house different meaning here. Seemed to mean more that the thought energy, possibly referencing the suicidal thoughts, carries Soul, seemingly agreeing more with them than with Heart and Mind, as Soul realizes he can't be stopped and goes fully totalitarian, visibly covering the mouths of the other two in the music video, and going on to do what is about to happen, a suicide attempt. The end of the song sees Soul gleefully talking about the pair as if they can't hear him, as Mind and Heart laugh and try to get Soul to see their side, even though it's completely useless at this point.
Screams with no sense for why. One more day and one more night. One more black and one more white. One more chance is all you've left to turn the tides. Tridential regicide. I won't hesitate to kill my heart and mind. I will abdicate these deep yet sat inside. I'll take you down in tandem when this road is tied.
Then we have what I consider Mind and Heart's interlude before the night ends, with the song Storm in a Spring. In Storm in a Spring, Mind and Heart seem to duet despite being at each other's throats, seemingly at least agreeing on one thing: Soul needs to be stopped. But Heart starts to slip into Soul's trap, agreeing more with his side instead. The song opens with Mind saying he can't remember what he'd previously tried to sing about, but that it isn't anything new, as if he's talking about the argument him and Heart have had before. And now he can't even tell what the argument was about, but continuing it anyway, childishly, saying, but I personally don't think this line is about Heart, but instead Soul, as the rest of Mind's side in this song seems to be directed at Soul, and as if he's speaking to Heart. Mind calls out to Heart, interestingly enough, saying, The Mind seems to summarize what's going on in the next few lines, saying that the rain, representing them, comes down the same, but none of it can stake a claim, despite Soul singing his heart out, possibly a literal and metaphorical sense as the Soul pushing Heart away. This being added to it the fact that Chonny capitalized Heart in the lyrics in the description of the video. This line could signify that when your tears are being overshadowed, can you possibly say that you're even trying? Mind is very possibly saying that in a very cold way, if Soul's struggle is being overshadowed by others, did he really even try to show it? Heart interjects here, confronting Mind with the line,
What do you see behind those dead leaden eyes?
And to Heart's surprise, Mind responds, saying that he sees Soul dark and cold and broken due to these feelings of suicidal ideation, and an oath that him and Heart formed to keep it whole, saying that they formed an oath to keep the body there and alive. Going on to say that he believes he can't trust Heart to keep the oath anymore because he'd fall under a weight and give in, which sadly proves correct. Mind says the lines,
So much left to sing, such a plain and simple thing,
as if appealing to Heart or Soul that they have something to live for, something to stay alive for, and talking about how their rage and despair and shame are all put into the covers that Chonny make. Mind becomes confrontational to Heart in the next few lines. Saying that if Heart can't handle the pressure, Mind will cut him out entirely. The next stanza of the song seems to speed up unexpectedly, and to me sounds like another musical representation of a mental health issue, which Chonny seems to do extremely well, like the spiral before it. This time, though, it's a panic attack.
silent explosives, despise and corrosives, the rise on railroads with these siblings implosives, defer to inside from the earrings he hides, he's so confident his bros won't be found once he's died, but these silent explosives, these violent narcosis, this current roses, prolific as mountain bristles, will forget you, regret and regret you, will think the same story that we got is said to the cosmos of time, beyond my whole life, I have purpose before, but never again.
The song spirals into chaos as Mind and Heart argue, their words melding together before the song and panic attack end, leading into the last song, Night and Light. The last song starts out with a quaint guitar riff, and Heart and Soul duetting the original opening to Night and Light before Mind hijacks the song, saying the part of
Look out and see me.
Hart goes on to duet with Soul with
An accidental light tone, such as I am, mother's only son.
Mind comes in again to sing
Is the light dawn ever meant to run?
as if questioning if the light, quote-unquote, is ever meant to be on, or the courage to do was about to be done. The chorus of this song sees all three speaking about what's going to happen tonight, with the Mind saying that he's arriving alive and alight, and the three talking about black, gray, and white in reference to the three of them, ending in the Soul saying he wants them to look out through their eyes and see his point of view at the end of the day. In the next verse, Soul is talking by himself about how the daylight comes in the night in a form of an open door. I see this as an extended reference to suicide, the door being representative of the fact that Soul's always had and has the opportunity to take an easier way out, but more and more now the idea seems more appealing. As the final verse states, everything else will fade away, leaving only thought. And the Soul goes through with it, the attempt occurring as the song goes slightly distorted and gives it a more ominous feeling. But it doesn't work.
What do you want? Everything else will fade away.
Light begins with Hart reprising the beginning lyric, saying he's tried to keep the light on, but the sun, which up to this point is in reference to Mind, eclipsed its feeble beams. I've taken this to mean that Mind kept the body alive, being possibly the part of them that literally cut their noose. As the logical side took over and realized that this was an awful idea, Mind comes in, saying a double entendre, meaning both sun as in the hum of his music in reference to Mind, and sun as in listen to the hum of Soul.
Transmute the pain to kinetic energy.
Mind here is saying that they must take the pain and convert it into a productive lesson, being the main theme of Light. Soul sings out the chorus,
You've survived out of critics' minds. All night you have fought for your place in the light. But I won't be split into, won't be him or you. We will be combined, whether they be dead or alive. Let's blur these lines.
saying that the pair have argued all night and that now is the time to blur the lines of their argument, merging them in life, if not in death. Mind's argument comes first.
Question the numbers, rolling under, drowning in the cold. The questions we have pondered, time we've squandered, don't you feel we're old? Please help decipher this life that we lead.
Asking if Hart realizes the pair are being played by Soul. Hart responds,
Humility's a virtue, pride a sin, or so it has been said. That every time I've hurt you, or at least tried to, you've laughed and smiled instead. Kicked, scorned, and damned by the forces that be. Not ever once did you fall to your knees.
seemingly baffled by the fact that no matter what, Mind doesn't seem to be mentally affected by their fights, ignoring Mind's argument for now. The two duet for the second chorus of the song, realizing that they both survived out of spite of each other and that they want each other to just understand their points, accumulating in a realization.
Something will heal, lost in thought. Something has dawned.
In this, the pair see for once that they share the same goals, and that both of them need to be alive for the body to survive and heal from trauma. The next section is a reprise of the beginning, but it isn't notated as being heart, mind, or soul singing. It's left blank. Which is where this fourth character speculation I've been talking about in the beginning comes in. You could read this as just another part of the song being sung by either heart or soul because they sound rather similar, and just think that Chonny forgot to annotate the lyrics, which is a very good possibility. They're, to my knowledge, a solo artist. But it's a lot more fun to me to believe it's intentional, because it means that the person speaking here is now the blurred or mixed character of heart and mind, now as one, saying they shall survive now that they understand each other. The song ends with all three singing as the song goes fast and hard, talking about how tonight they're surmising some of their parts, and finding their roles in each other's survival. And finally, the song ends with the line, "Let's variate these hues," because now they can combine their point of view and see everything in a much better light, which I believe to be a completely amazing and beautiful ending to this story.
Variate these hues.
I just want to thank you all for watching my rant about a subject probably a good 2 people care about. If you made it this far, I'm sorry. A, I'm sorry for your mental health, but B, in all seriousness, you could subscribe in case I decide to make more harebrained rants. Which, I mean, hey, you're here. Might as well get to say you're one of the first, right? Seriously though, this could be all wrong. Don't take my word as gospel. I honestly implore you to go listen to the original songs yourself and make up your own point of view or story. Because that's what's so great about music, is that it can be interpreted any way you please if you can find the reasoning. I wish you all an amazing day. Drive safe. Love you all. Bye.